Hey everyone, welcome to the Everyday Human Podcast. My name is Easton Taverna. Each day I'll share a reflection written by me and inspired by literature, poetry, music, movies, video games, and more. And after that, I'll share a prompt for you to write your own reflection. Together, we'll explore what it means to be human. Every month, we'll walk a new path, taking a look at life, death, the universe, and everything in between. Thanks for coming along. I'm glad you're here. For more, visit eastontaverna.com or join me on Instagram at _everydayhuman. Hello, everyone. It is May 12th. Today's episode is titled Journey, Destination, or Something Else. It was inspired by a John Keats poem, Ode on a Grecian Urn, my favorite poem by Keats. And we're looking at only a few lines in particular today, so I won't be reading the whole thing. But do give it a read, sitting in maybe your favorite chair while it's quiet around the house, or better yet, on a bench in a park, or even better, under your favorite tree, if you're the type to sit under a tree and read a poem, which I think is a lovely thing to do, that we don't see enough people doing these days, do we? And do you have a favorite tree? Do many people have favorite trees? I think we all should have a favorite tree. I have two favorite trees by the creek. They're black walnut trees, and they are lovely. And then I have another favorite tree that I can't quite reach, but I can see it towering above the rest. It's this giant cedar. And sitting at the kitchen table while I'm eating my dinner, I can see it straight through the door. Well, actually not straight through, it's out on an angle. But I can see it, and I like to look at it. And every time I do, my mind kind of wanders and feels at peace. So as I'm sitting here, it is morning, I'm having some coffee, and this is our second Keats-inspired reflection. So we're keeping the intro brief today, but if you do want to learn a little bit more about him, head back in time to March 31st's episode. That one was titled, Why Do You Do It? It was inspired by his poem, Ode to a Nightingale. So I first read this poem, Ode on a Grecian Urn, in high school, and studied it again in college. And it is a beautiful poem. It really helped me think about love, anticipation, truth, art, beauty, where all of those things intersect, and what it really means. This idea of unheard music being sweeter than the heard music, because it exists in the realm of the sense and imagination, and not in reality. This idea that anticipation is greater than the actual event itself, which I find true in a lot of cases. And then from that, this idea or question of what are we really placing emphasis on and what do we really value? And then how do we live our lives from that? It's up there in my favorite poems. It's a classic. You may have read it, or at least have seen quotes from it, or nods to it here and there in other works of literature or poems or pop culture even. So here are the lines that inspired today's reflection. Again, go read the whole thing when you have a moment or two with your favorite tree above you. Heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. Therefore, ye soft pipes play on, not to the sensual ear, but more endeared. Pipe to the spirit ditties of no tone. Fair youth, beneath the trees thou canst not leave thy song, nor ever can those trees be bare. Bold lover, never canst thou kiss. Though winning near the goal, yet do not grieve, she cannot fade, though thou hast not thy bliss. For ever wilt thou love, and she be fair. So the idea here is that Keats was looking at a piece of Greek art, this Grecian urn, and seeing the individuals, the images, the symbols, the trees, the fair youth, the bold lover, and they were all frozen in time. And so he starts meditating on art and love, beauty and truth, music, and our relationship with those things. Okay, let's get to my reflection. You may have heard it before. The journey is the destination. And if you look at life through this lens, it makes sense. What's our ultimate destination? death, of course. So it follows that every day we live, every step we take, walking on this journey, is ultimately where we find meaning and joy in life. Or maybe it's the anticipation for almost anything. That's where joy and pleasure live. How many times have you looked forward to a trip, but when you finally got there, it was just, meh? What about the holidays? It's the countdown to Christmas, the Advent calendar, and the decorating and the carols. That's where the spirit lives. The day comes and goes just like any other, and then you're left wondering, where did the time go? But what if it's neither the journey nor the destination? In Big Panda and Tiny Dragon by James Norbury, Big Panda asks, which is more important, the journey or the destination? To which Tiny Dragon replies, the company. So you have to ask, would Keats' bold lover be satisfied living frozen in time, just nearing the kiss, if it weren't with someone they loved? Someone they couldn't stand the thought of not kissing? And what would your journey through life toward death be like without those you love along for the ride? You might travel to beautiful places, savor delicacies, or hear the sweetest of melodies, which is all well and good. But wouldn't it be better if those you love were right there with you? We are fortunate where our bold lover is not. We can live in the moment, we can relish in the anticipation, and we can and will reach the destination. So savor each kiss, each step, each fleeting moment, and most of all, cherish the company that walks beside you on this one grand and terrific journey to the end. There ends today's reflection. So take out your journal or your napkins or look out the window and think about the following reflection question. Have I been too fixated on the destination, or a destination, and not enough on the ones I love who are with me? And if I'm being honest with myself, for a long time, I was way too fixated on the destination. Not really the big destination, death, although I do think about that a lot, memento mori and all that. I think more along the lines of like my career or quote-unquote success when it comes to my writing. I had these grand ambitions, and I suppose there are still remnants of those. But I was doing all this work, putting in, I still am, and I was hoping for maybe this material version or plastic version of success. The one where you get the advances, you have the lines out the door at your signings, the 5-star reviews. And those aren't bad things to hope for. But was I missing the point? Was I focusing too much on that and not as much on the journey or the company, the people who support me along the way? And even with my day jobs, although it's become less of a focus for me because I'm realizing that these come and go, like they change like the direction of the wind. But more and more I'm coming to realize that it can end any second for any of us. And I don't want to lose someone or for me to go and think, my God, I wasted a lot of time fixating on something that either was going to happen or it wasn't going to, or maybe it just lived in my imagination. So I've made it a point consciously to think less about that kind of stuff and more about the little moments and the people who I'm with. And working on this book and writing reflections like these and thinking about it has helped me. So I hope maybe it'll help you too, if you need the help. Well, that is it for today, May 12th. I'll be back tomorrow, May 13th, with another reflection. Have a good one, and take care.